Hello, my fellow stale Subaru interiors. I'm Mr. Church. Best Build has been out for a few weeks now, which has given us all time to really sit back, relax and study the unique and interesting choices that the devs made. While this system shows a lot of promise, it is definitely lacking in some areas. I asked in my Discord what people's thoughts were on Best Builds, and I got back a lot of impassioned feedback. In this video, I'm going to be highlighting 7 issues with the Best Build system, as well as sharing some ideas that might improve Best Builds, both from myself and from members of my Discord community. If you're interested in joining the Discord, by the way, the link for that is in the description. At the end of this video, I'm going to say something so interesting, so make sure you stick around and watch the part in the middle of the video where I don't, so that the video gets picked up by the YouTube algorithm, and I'll have enough AdSense revenue to buy a $40 steak. And as always, if you like the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because it says to on this script here that I wrote, I guess. Issue number 1. You have to pay caps to travel to a Best Build. I was honestly surprised when I first clicked on a Best Build and saw that you have to pay to go to it. While this may not seem like a big deal to whales, that have like rolling in caps, not everybody has that, Not everybody wants to spend 40 to 50 caps to visit a camp up in the top corner of the map, and it will result in fewer people visiting it. And so that's pretty foolish. It doesn't cost caps to visit someone camp who's on your team, so why should it cost caps to visit a Best Build? I mean, it's even like the color of stuff that's free to fast travel to. You know what I mean? It just seems like a no-brainer. Speaking of no-brains, issue number 2. Best Builds do not show up in the World Activity tab. This was another surprise to me. Like, I understand not wanting to clog up your activity tab with all your daily ops and public events going on, how suave, how demure, but like there's already a secondary tab, and it doesn't just show the other events that no one likes to go to, but it also shows every player vendor on the server, every single one. So why would you exclude the Best Builds? Aren't they the best ones? Don't they want us to look at them? So in my opinion, there should be an easy way to find them, rather than scrolling all over the map frantically, which is, by the way, much slower when you have a joystick and you're not on PC. This one felt more like an oversight, but it's an oversight that probably wouldn't have happened had a single person working on Best Builds communicated at any point to anyone who plays the game. The number 3 reason why Best Builds need work is they show up in private servers. There's a few issues with this one. For one thing, why do we use private servers, Jimmy? Why do we use those? What's that? Oh, yeah. To avoid other people. Yeah, in their camps. We also use them to transfer items, because in 2024 we still don't have a safe way to transfer gear between players, characters. But we also use it to build without other people's camps blocking our spots. Let's say you want to build on the White Springs Green. That's a very high traffic area. So you're like, okay, well, if I go to my private server, there's guaranteed to have no camp blocking that spot. Wrong. Because now, someone that put a joke camp with a module and a sleeping bag could be blocking your camp in your own fucking private server that you're paying money, by the way, to have access to. So the fact that we can't even choose to not have them in our private servers is really fucked up, in my opinion. But it also it's ruining my privacy. Get out of there. Get out of here. But the other issue is with the algorithm, which I'm going to touch on more later. But if your Best Build is shown in a private server, the chances are very high that no one visited it. And even if every person who could be in that server went and visited it, that's still only 8 people, And then what happens? Does it go back in queue? Does that count it as it being shown? Because here's the thing. If I'm going to my private server, I'm not going to be going around looking at Best Builds. I'm doing something else. So that build got shown and no one looked at it, and then what happens? Does it get buried again behind tens of thousands of other camps before it's shown again? Congratulations. Everyone in the server got fucked for no reason, by the way. They just shouldn't be shown in private servers at all. And that just feels so foolish. Number 4, this one is probably one of the biggest issues, but I can't save it for last, like a chocolate cake or something, because it leads to other issues. But the issue is whatever algorithm they have to determine what camps are being shown seems to be horrific, okay? Like, what determines what camps are shown? Is it random? Is there a queue? Because both of those things have problems. There's so many players and so many camps that can be submitted that when the number is bloated even more by all these troll submissions, the single camp modules, the pile of garbage barf builds as a joke, each one is lowering your chances of the build you spent hours working on ever being shown to anybody. Skewing this even more, dailies and weeklies telling people to go like a camp or you don't get your score. Let's say you get home from a long day at work. I only have a couple of minutes before bed. I'm going to get on real quick, do my dailies. Oh, I have to go like a camp. You don't care if it's a good camp at that point. You go to the easiest one, you like it, and then you go to bed. Okay? So this is obviously skewing it. And what's happening is the likes mean nothing. There's no reason. And like that's like the big selling point on them. Oh, people can come like your camps. But like no one does because it doesn't get shown, or people do, but it's not because you had a good camp and they like it. A troll camp that's in a centralized location because of fast travel costs, for one thing, it'll have like 30 likes. Well, a camp build that, for example, I created using blood, sweat, childhood trauma, verbal abuse, I'll have 0 likes after weeks, you know? Like my dinosaur camp? Listen, you don't have to like me. You don't have to like me. You don't have to think I'm a good person. But you have to give me that. That's a camp that one person would have liked if they saw it, right? No one's liked it, okay? I uploaded this camp, and no one's liked it, okay? No one likes my stuff. People hate me. No, and that's the issue. Is I'm hearing that a lot with a lot of builders. They're that are I know to be very talented builders. They're like, wow, no one's liked my camp, and I just know that if people that actually cared about looking at camps and are going to best builds saw their camps, they would be getting likes, which tells me that they're not even being shown, or they're being shown in private servers and no one's looking at them. But ironically, for the very reason of like troll camps getting a shitload of likes, with a system the way it is now, likes can't affect how often a camp is shown, because the first camp that'll get a chunk of likes, even if it's like a module with a sleeping bag next to it, it'll just take up more of that space, blocking more camps from being shown. You know what I mean? Like, so whoever gets there first snowballs, and then you're stuck there. You're at the top, and no one's ever going to see your camp because the module guy his camp's always being shown. Which means that, in my opinion, the 5th issue with best builds is that there's a no dislike or downvoting system. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, that's pretty nasty of you to say. I don't want people to dislike my stuff. Everybody already hates me in every way. I don't need them to hate my camp as well. But listen, calm down. I'm not saying that they should go into the negatives or something. Like, you shouldn't go to your camp and it has like minus 100 votes. You know what I mean? Like, it can stop at 0. You don't have to freak out about that. But if you have a downvote system, you can help mitigate troll camps. You can have likes affect how often a camp is shown without it snowballing and becoming so liked that it will never go away, even if it's just that module guy, Can it be abused? Like, oh, there's someone we hate, let's all log on and dislike his camp. Yes, but the current system can too, But the thing is, the chances of actually seeing a camp where you like want to do that to someone are so slim. In all the time that I've been looking at best builds since they've come out, I have never seen a name that I recognize. And I know a lot of people in the PlayStation building community. I know even more names, even if I've never talked to that person. And I've seen no camps by anyone that I recognize. So I don't think that it's really highly abusable to have a downvote system, because there are so many camps that are trying to be shown and can't be. And the thing is, if they're actually good camps, a downvote's not going to hurt it for like long term. Maybe, a bunch of people downvoting it when they, it's maybe a good camp. People are still going to like it. It's going to go back up. That's just how it works. Reddit works that way. I don't think it's a bad system. And yes, a dislike and downvote system could have its own issues if you're basing how things are shown based on that. So I've been building since beta, so I don't want to sound like I'm elitist and only people with the best camps ever should ever have their camps shown. That's not what I'm saying. But what if every third best build that is shown could be random selection of like newer camps, lower liked camps, or even lesser shown camps? And that meant the other two of the three will be based on likes. They'll be based on people actually liking them. They'll be based on actually being good camps. But that way it's not exclusionary. Novice builders and newer players can still enjoy the spotlight. But 2/3 of that will be devoted to camps actually that are getting liked. But then the other slot is also allowing new camps to enter into that, into the what do we call it? I don't have a word for it. That's not on the script. Okay, I'm not writing I didn't make a script. Okay, but if I did, that would have been on it. So for a fact, with a downvote system in place, great builds will eventually get filtered to the top, and more people could enjoy your hard work. Like they promised this system would do, and people looking to find inspiration could actually do so instead of throwing up their mouths and logging off because of indigestion, not because of their camps. Now you're putting words into my mouth. I never said that. I didn't say any of that stuff. And over time, if you did this, you could even do like an event over the weekend or something where you show like star camps, which was like the most liked ever camps of all time or whatever. That could be cool. Right now, best builds are exactly the same as just going to people's camps. Did you ever think about that? You have to pay caps, and you show up and it's just whatever, and that's that. Wow. And these ones, you don't even get the pleasure of buying a "you've been insulted" note for 40,000 caps while you're there. By the way, before anyone bitches, I do want to mention having vendors disabled on best builds is a good thing. I've seen people complaining about it or acting like it's a bug. I don't want stuff being sold of mine when I'm not online. I can't monitor how many caps I have. I can't turn my vendor off. I have no way of controlling that. There's so many things you'd have to change to get vendors to work on a best build. I don't think it's a good idea. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you would have to go and resubmit your camp every time someone bought something because the camp would change. What was in it would change. Anyway, that's fine. And I also don't think it's a problem that people can pick your locks and take your stuff, because that stuff isn't actually yours. It's a best build is a copy of your camp. That stuff isn't going into your inventory anyway. Like, the stuff that's loading into a best build doesn't come out of your pocket. It's a different camp than yours. If someone picks your lock, takes stuff out of your collectron and in your best build, and then you log on, your collectron is a different collectron. So that's not affecting it in any way. I don't think that's an issue. The lock gets relocked after it goes into a new server. It's reset every time to however it was when you submitted it. So that's not a problem. I just wanted to add that because I saw people bitching about it. And let's focus our bitching on what matters here. Okay? Number 6. There's no current way to know if your camp is even being shown or visited. Does my camp have 0 likes because it's ass? Or because it's literally never shown up on a server or was shown up in a private server, which is basically the same thing. There should be advanced stats we can look at while we're managing our builds. You don't need to show me how many times it was downvoted because that'll hurt my feelings, right? But if I knew it was visited X amount of times and was liked Y amount of times, I could feel Z type of way and maybe spruce the damn place up, for Christ's sake. This way, if I see that it's been visited 0 times, instead of feeling sad that no one likes my camp, I can feel sad that no one who works at Bethesda puts any effort into their monetized content that I purchased. Speaking of best builds, I recently uploaded a video to my Patreon that you can watch even if you just follow for free. Did you know you could do that on Patreon? You can actually just follow for free, and some content can be set for free followers to view as well. Patreon is the best way to put a hole in my bagel, and if you're interested in following me there to check out that video or in giving me every last penny you've earned to have access to underwhelming bonus content, the link for that is in the description. And okay, the last problem for me as a builder, this is the most egregious and problematic issue. Number 7. Best builds are rendered in fully repaired, even if you submitted them with specific items destroyed. Now, what this means is that if you have items that are specifically destroyed because they have a completely different model when they're destroyed, that item is repaired in the best build. People don't see what you actually submitted. The camp you submitted isn't what people see. Okay? Do you know how many times on my channel I've made a build where items are destroyed as part of the structure? Because I feel like it's probably close to half at least. I didn't even know this when I first submitted my camps, and multiple of the camps I submitted have intentionally destroyed items as part of the structure. You know how many camps have won Bethesda build competitions that have intentionally destroyed objects as part of the structure? This kind of decision, it shows a frightening disconnect with the community. Like, there's no better way for you to say, not only do I have absolutely no idea what's going on in the building community, but I don't care to find out. Do you know how many people would love to have a conversation with anybody that would give a fuck? You know, there's so many people in the building community that would be very easy to reach out to and have a conversation with if you wanted some tips, if you wanted some ideas or feedback before making decisions like this. You know, even just like, hey, we're thinking about doing this. What would be the best way of going about this? Or we want to do this. What do you think? Do you have any ideas? Anything. Do you know how much time that would take? 5 minutes? Do you know, I'm friends with people on Discord that would have a say in these decisions, and they could just reach out if they wanted to. Why are you friends with me if you don't know who I am? Why did you accept my friend request? Because it was my birthday? How would you know that? You know? Don't be so weird about it. Even if you don't want to talk to me specifically, I get that because I'm like kind of nasty, you know, because I like to say, oh, I don't really like being bent over against my will, you know, penetrated from behind. I didn't choose that. But other people don't mind it, and they would also be available to contact, and I know are in contact with you already. You could just ask them, you know, while you're asking for their address, you can send them more Brotherhood of Steel flags. You could slip it into the conversation. They wouldn't even notice, you know, and those people also build and would know, oh, you know what? No, I actually use broken items in my structures. There is actually an entire subdivision of builds that are built inside destroyed prefabs. Those are all ruined. Those are all gone. You can't submit those as a best build because the prefab won't be destroyed. And they're indestructible, by the way. The best builds, indestructible. I mean, they should show up exactly how they're submitted. Why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Like, it's lunacy to me. Like, if you work at Bethesda and you have access to anyone who makes these decisions, you also have access to me. You could literally message me on Discord. You could comment on my video. You could say, you reach out in any way. I would love to have a conversation about stuff like this, because these type of things could be avoided if you set like one conversation, 10 minutes long, and you avoid this entire issue, which is a massive one. Because now I have like 50% of my camps that I can't even submit as a best builds. And by the way, those are my best builds. Like most of my builds that I would consider my best work have items in them that are intentionally destroyed as part of the structure, and I can't submit them. So you're not actually going to get the community's best builds if you keep this the way it is. And I just think that it's a massive problem. Now, I'm not alone in this, but I might be alone in some of my other things that I said. A lot of people in my Discord, by the way, echoed a lot of my sentiments, so I know I'm not just speaking out my ass here. I'm speaking out of all of their asses as well. But if you guys disagree or you thought of other issues with it, please leave comments below. Let's have respectful dialogue and figure out what's the best thing we can do with best builds. Because I think there's something here to it that will be really great. And I think the community could really benefit from a good best build situation. I also want to give a big shout out to my Patreon supporters and channel members. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. Like, that's an understatement. I could be doing this without the support you guys give, and I really, really do appreciate it. Before I end the video, I want to give a yummy thank you also to my supporters over on Twitch. Earlier this month, I set up a donor goal to try to save up to get a PS5. I've been making all my videos with PS4. You guys blasted me with fat stacks. If you're a person who enjoys my YouTube content, W's in the comments for my Twitch peeps. Okay, because while the content isn't going to be any better going forward, the visual quality will be improved, you know, and it's all thanks to those of you on Twitch who supported me in that way, and I really appreciate it so much. The link for my Twitch is in the description, by the way, if you want to follow me over there, as is the link for the Discord. And remember at the beginning of the video when I said I was going to say something super, super interesting at the end of the video? Well, you've been waiting this whole time, and here it is. I didn't want to say anything earlier, but this entire time I've been recording this video completely